These guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another How About Them Celtics video. Sam and I are here recording on Friday, July 26th, and I'm here. I'm home. Sam's not. Sam's still in Greece. I'm still here. You got today's video with just me, and then Sunday's pod is also going to be just me unless I can find one of the gang to fill in for Sam. And then we will get back to a normal schedule, starting with Monday's video. From there on out, you'll have us pretty normal for the rest of the off season. But hey, we got to get a vacation into, right? Like all the guys went to Cabo, went to the team, went to Paris. They went to Cancun. They had their fun. They won a title. They got to do whatever they want. Why, we get some fun too. But we're talking about Jayson Tatum today. An article came out from Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated. I shared my screen. I got to move over here. Chris Mannix of Sports Illustrated, and he wrote about it's called "The Celtics Define Greatness in Any Era," but a quote from Jayson Tatum sort of made the rounds from this, and it was him talking about Jaylen Brown. Obviously, over the years, Jaylen Brown has been thrown into trade rumors. Thrown into all, he's always been the guy that if the Celtics were to fail, if the Celtics were to have to blow it up, make a huge change, everyone's like, oh, it's Jaylen. Jaylen's going to be thrown around in those rumors. And this is the quote that sort of made its rounds, sort of saying Tatum apologizes or says he should have been better. Tatum said, I've always told him being Jaylen Brown, that maybe I could have done a better job of voicing my feelings in the public eye. He always knew that I wanted him here. I would always tell him, man, I don't get involved in any of those talks. I never went to Brad Stevens or went to any player like, yo, I want this guy in. I want this guy out of here. I show up and I want to do my job and play basketball. And looking back in those moments, I didn't know how that could affect somebody because I was never in that situation. I feel like maybe I could have done a better job of publicly saying, no, we don't want anybody. We want JB. I was just always like, I want to stay out of it. And I feel like this has sort of been felt a lot this season. There's been a lot of talks and speculation of, oh, Tatum never praises JB. Tatum never shows love to JB. What's that about? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Obviously, there were the memes of, oh, Tatum didn't like that he won. Tatum wanted Finals MVP. Tatum wanted the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. And well, I think those specific ones are a little overblown. There were times where it did feel like he wasn't necessarily giving the love. And I don't know if it was necessarily malicious. I think Tatum's just a quiet guy, and he'll give praise to like a Pritchard or show love to Al because he's a mentor or stuff like that. But I feel like he almost just saw him and JB as peers, relatively speaking. So I feel like in his mind, and this is just speculation here, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Obviously, I think Tatum should have done a much better job of, voicing his opinion and love for JB. I don't think he did a good enough job of that. But I think in his mind, he was like, oh, me and JB are equals. Me and JB are co-leaders. Like, I got to make it a point to build up the guys around us. And in doing that, in thinking, oh, I got to build up D-White. I got to build up a show love to Al. I got to, build up Pritchard a little bit. Like, he sort of slacked on the JB thing. It doesn't make a ton of sense. Like I said, he should have just done it for everybody. But this in particular, saying, oh, I should have done a better job vouching and saying, oh, we want him around. We want him around. We want him around. That's just never been who Tatum is. Tatum's not one to go to Brad Stevens and say, hey, go get this guy. Go do this. Go do this. Like, he is the furthest thing from LeBron, as Sam would say. Sam would make I'll be Sam. Ready? He's not LeBron. If LeBron was on this team, he would be directing the moves. I know you guys like the LeBron impression from last video, or excuse me, the Sam impression from last video. Hopefully Henry did a good job, but Tatum's just never been that guy. Tatum's super quiet. He's super reserved. He's super, I just want to play basketball and do nothing else. And so I feel like that's kind of the way he's carried himself. And so that almost in a way translated into him not necessarily voicing that I want JB to be here, even if that's pretty clearly based on this quote and based on everything we've seen in terms of them interacting was what he wanted. There was another piece to this. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become a part of the Prize Picks community today. With Prize Picks, you could turn $10 into $1,000 while watching Team USA rack up the gold medals this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup of players across basketball, soccer, tennis, golf, and more in as little as 60 seconds. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and you're locked in. Prize Picks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. Sam and I use Prize Picks all throughout the NBA playoffs as the Celtics were making their run. If you guys tuned into the pregame show, you saw it. We like Drew Holiday blocks. We always picked Jayson Tatum to get a dunk. That was a lock for us. And we always picked less on the opposing stars' points. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Tatum giving JB that love, saying, I feel like he's gotten the short end of the stick, whether it's all-star selections or all-NBA. I feel like he, in a sense, made up for some of those shortcomings that people didn't vote for him. I was happy he got it, talking about the finals MVP. That said, Tatum did admit that he wanted it. He said, I knew, excuse me, he remembered the 1920 season where they were both battling for an all-star spot, and Tatum got it. He said, I knew he was happy for me. But when you're a competitor, you want what's in front of you. And then similarly, Tatum won a finals MVP, but Brown got it. And Tatum said that it, quote, genuinely made me happy, or made me genuinely happy. Also talking about it here, we figured out that we need each other. We have learned how to coexist, and we know we need to be the best version of ourselves in order for all this to work. We weren't necessarily the best playmakers early in our career, but we developed into guys that really bleed the game. We want to be a great example of guys that play both ends of the floor and guys who are the best teammates that we can be. And I just thought it was super interesting hearing Tatum talk about how he doesn't think he did a good enough job sort of voicing his opinion. And in a weird way, I feel like Tatum doesn't necessarily understand the power he has. Like, that sounds so stupid, right? Tatum's so clearly the face of the franchise. Like, he is the Celtics. He's a top 5 player in the NBA, I would say right now. At the very least, he's top 10. And he is the best player on the team that just won a championship, or at the very least, one of the 2 best players on the team that just won a championship. He's the guy. He's the guy in Boston. He gets all the ads. He's the face of Boston sports right now. Realistically, like, the Bruins don't really have anybody that caliber. The Red Sox don't. The closest they have is Rafi Devers. And the Pats are the Pats at the moment. Like, Tatum is currently the best athlete in the city of Boston. And yet he just kind of wants nothing to do with the limelight, relatively speaking. He likes to do his job. He likes to play basketball. He likes to do he'll do the ads all day. He wants to secure that bag. There's that whole thing of him not spending any money from his NBA paychecks, and he just uses the money he gets from brand deals. So he's going to do those, but he's not like he's not as necessarily active in the community as Jaylen. Obviously, Tatum is big with charity. He's big with giving back and stuff like that. But you'll see Jaylen at an event. You'll see Jaylen here. You'll see Jaylen there. Tatum is very just his personality is so reserved that I feel like the concept of him having the power to say something and it meaning something to the front office, to the fans, to the NBA, he doesn't really grasp that. Like he said in the quote, he's like, let me find it here. I didn't know, maybe I could have done a better job. Like, I always said it internally, but I never went up to anybody. I just wanted to show my job. Like, he doesn't grasp the concept of how that could help. And he also didn't think about it in terms of how JB would be feeling in that moment. Like, I didn't know how that could affect somebody because I was never in the situation. Because obviously Tatum was never the one in trade rumors. It was always, build around Tatum, trade JB. That was always the thing. And Tatum sort of didn't necessarily do a good enough job of backing up JB. And I think he realizes that. And obviously they're friends and they're cool off the court. But I thought that was really fun to say that as well. We can go through a little bit of the other quotes in this article. But if you want to read the full thing, I highly recommend go check out Chris Mannix's article, Celtics Define Greatness in Any Era, with this super sick Tatum Great Gatsby cover. Very cool. I already tweeted that. That's getting used in so many group chats. I've already used it. We can take a look over here as well. Talking about how Tatum has immersed himself in Celtic culture. I literally saw Paul Pierce every day for 6 straight weeks. He's friendly. Quote, I remember her telling me how much he enjoyed watching us play and how proud of me he was and how much he supported us even later in his life. This is him talking about Jeannie Russell. Even when he wasn't as talkative, he could still see he could still watch and see things. She just kept saying how proud of us that he was. Also talked about losing to the Warriors in the 22 finals and how it affected his confidence. That was the first time I thought, I don't know, maybe I'm not one of those guys who can be the best player on a championship team, because it was so hard to get to the finals and we still didn't win. Getting there, that was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I was drained. That summer I had moments thinking that maybe you have to be a legend to win a championship. And there were moments where I wondered if I was going to be that guy just because of how hard it is. Then he said, time heals all. He shrugged. And they finally got there. He said the toughest part about winning a championship is that Smart isn't here and Rob isn't here. But I'm so happy that we have Drew and KP. Obviously, those guys took us to the next level. Talked about Brown and stuff, and him being close. This is more about him and Jaylen, which is the title of this video and the whole point that I really wanted to talk about. He said, like, I wasn't happy for him. Yeah, that was tough because then we had 10 days off. I was just like, fuck, can we start playing? This was after the conference finals. Like him saying, like, it was dumb. Like I'll read the blurb from Chris Maddox here. He said, meanwhile, the relationship between the two stars has been nitpicked incessantly. A rough stretch can lead to immediate colonoscopy. Hell, even a good stretch. After Brown was named MVP of the conference finals, ESPN used a video of Tatum applauding, apparently not emphatically enough to suggest that the two weren't really close. And then Tatum said, like, I wasn't happy for him. Yeah, that was tough because then we had 10 days off and I was just like, fuck, can we start playing? And then he insists that he never wanted Brown to be traded. Most stars don't make conference finals until 27, 28. We were doing it when we were 19, 20. But then he gets into the I should have been more vocal about it, all that good stuff there as well. Said we need each other, says all that. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. I remember my dad taking me to Fenway Park as a kid, getting to watch David Ortiz and Dustin Pedroia sitting in the Green Monster and taking in all there is to love about the iconic ballpark. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. Taking a look at my Game Time app right now, I see plenty of great deals to watch my favorite sports teams and my favorite tickets to Noah Khan. You guys know that's my favorite artist. I even used it while in Las Vegas for Summer League to get tickets to a women's basketball game. Some of my favorite features in the Game Time app include letting me see what the price is going to be with fees included. It makes so much easier to take a look and see what the actual price I'm going to pay is. Also, you get to see exactly where you are sitting. It's a great way to know exactly the experience you're going to get. I also love the fact that you can get great last-minute deals. Save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, or anything else. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. But yeah, and then he said, when you win a championship, you think about all your favorite players. They have that moment. This is what makes those guys. This is what makes them those guys that they win at the highest level. They did it multiple times. So in a weird way, yeah, I have thought about, man, you can be one of the greatest basketball players ever in some capacity, and winning takes care of a lot of that. I just thought the conversation that Jayson had about knowing he needed to back up Jaylen a little bit more was super interesting to hear and listen to, because Tatum's not really the type of guy to get involved in that, like he did admit himself. And that's fine. Like we've talked about on the show for years, Jayson Tatum doesn't need to be Kevin Garnett. He doesn't need to be this vocal leader. He doesn't need to be somebody he's not. He just needs to be Jayson Tatum, and clearly that's enough. And I saw a lot of comments getting mad at me about me saying, oh, there was no talk about the super team and discrediting Tatum. And I was wrong in a sense. I think I was thinking of it in too much of a direct sense of, I didn't see a ton of, oh, Jayson Tatum got carried to this point. It was, is Jaylen Brown really the best player? Is it the Celtics had an easy road? Does it even count? Like, there was plenty of that talks trying to discredit the Celtics run. I think I was just too laser focused on that very, very specific argument that I was missing sort of the broader picture of everyone tried to discredit Tatum and the Celtics. And obviously that was the point that was being made. And I was just being a moron and trying to get very specific. And I was like, oh, I didn't see this specific thing. I don't know what was going through my head. But yeah, I don't know. The Tatum Brown relationship is one that has been constantly like picked at, like even after they won the title, Brown tweets something about wanting to make Team USA or the emojis, and everyone's like, oh, does he hate the team? Like it's always going to be there. And it's going to be there because this Celtics team is boring as fuck. They just win. They're just a really good basketball team. There's no drama of who can the Lakers get to help LeBron. There's no drama of, can Joel Embiid stay on the court? Will they ever make it past the second round of the playoffs? There is no drama of, even if it's positive drama, there's no, oh my God, Jimmy Butler's going to turn it up in the playoffs. Can they make this incredible underdog run? There's no drama of, all this other stuff. And I think over the past few years, you've seen really boring champions. Like the Nuggets, boring. They just dissected everybody and they killed them on their way to the title and they won. The Celtics, boring. Just dissected everybody, killed everybody on the way to the title and they won. Like the Bucks, I guess, were the last one that was really like there wasn't even drama there. It was just like Giannis got the job done. Like it was fun because both teams were in the finals. Like Suns first time ever, Bucks first time in a long time. Like it feels like everyone's trying to create narratives because the Celtics don't really give any out there. Like they just kind of put their heads down, play basketball, and that's what it's about. And so when you see all these years, to bring it back to the main point of like, oh my gosh, should they trade Jaylen Brown? Should they change this way? Are they good enough? All that stuff. It's a product of they are just so good that one little loss is enough to try to create these storylines that just aren't there. And for Tatum to come out and say, hey, yeah, that's my hand up, my bad. I should have supported my guy more. It's cool. It's fun to see. And I think it proves that it's not a lack of his like wanting Jaylen to be there, which I don't think anybody who actually watches the Celtics ever thought was the case. It's just he's not a very vocal guy, and that's fine. He's just the type of guy to put his head down and play basketball, but he's got to understand the power he has as the face of this franchise, even if he doesn't fully grasp how much power he has in the world of Boston, because he truly is the face of Boston sports right now, especially after that title. So I thought that was fun. Shout out Chris Mannix. It was a great article. Like I said, I recommend everybody go read it on Sports Illustrated right now. I'll put the link in the description so you guys can check it out there. But yeah, like I said, we'll back to normal pods and videos starting Monday. Sam's traveling all day tomorrow, and I'm going to be out at night, so it's not going to work for the Sunday full pod. I apologize for that. You'll probably just get me for like a 30-minute pod, 30, maybe 40, depending on how much content I can find, because there's not much going on at this time of year. But anyways, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics. You can find me on Twitter at Jack Simone NBA. You can find Sam on Twitter at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe.